It said in the numerous news reports it was a consensual relationship that violated organizational policy. So only he is in violation of the company policy. The woman who elected to have a consensual relationship with him is not in violation.
This is not about pointing the finger. Stop. What became apparent to me in this press conference is that we do not have all of the information here. And the fact that we are sitting here debating whether somebody else should have been suspended or not, we are not here, Stephen A., to further blame women.
Okay, this is what it looks like when you're blinded with emotion with very little logic involved. Yo, welcome back to another episode of the Ruling Class Podcast. And of course, I'm your host, Didi, back up in this witch with another video. And yo, I got two goals. Trying to get to 5,000 subscribers by October. And my second goal is to drink some of this water. And I can't do both until you like, subscribe, share, and comment. But don't worry, I'm going to give you a sec to do that. All right, let's get into the video.
And I'm going to say this again. It said in the numerous news reports it was a consensual relationship that violated organizational policy. So only he is in violation of the company policy. The woman who elected to have a consensual relationship with him is not in violation. He gets to get mentioned and put on Front Street. We don't know who she is. What about the other women within the Celtics organization who have been victimized because wrong assumptions have been made by their involvement? If you knew exactly who it was, that would alleviate the concerns of all the other women who have had their names paraded out into the streets. What about them? You ain't thinking about that. So here we are. We're throwing him out to pasture. And again, Ime Udoka cannot be defended. His actions are his actions. Nobody fights for black coaches more than me. But I am telling you, a firing would have been warranted. Or you keep him. But to keep him, yet suspend him, by the way, not just suspend him, but for the suspension to be indefinite.
It's almost worse, like a lame duck status.
That's what you did. You ruined it.
I think everything Stephen A. just said was spot on, perfectly well stated. Fire the man or don't. He definitely deserved disciplinary actions. He violated the conduct policy for sure, 100% behind it. I don't know what the issue is here. He makes a great point. There was another consensual adult that was involved in this situation. Yet this person has not been named. This person has not been, and it has been said that this person will not receive disciplinary actions. We're asking why. Why is only one party, one individual involved in this situation being disciplined? That's a fair question. Watch how Malika responds.
Stephen A., with all due respect, this is not about pointing the finger. Stop. What became apparent to me in this press conference is that we do not have all of the information here. And it was frustrating to me that the Celtics declined to elaborate or to give more specifics about what exactly the rule breaking was that led us to this point. So that, I just wanted to get that out of the way first. But to answer your question, Molly, I think what stood out to me, I think what stood out to me is that Brad Stevens, he was upset. That's what stood out to me about what he termed rampant Twitter BS is the word that he used, that women were unfairly dragged into this within the Celtics organization. You could see that Brad Stevens was visibly upset about this. And I also found that to be gross and unnecessary, that folks were bringing in the names and the images of women that is just not a fact. That was purely speculation. And so to me, that is what stood out. But the fact that it was able to go on all day, the fact that we are sitting here debating whether somebody else should have been suspended or not, we are not here, Stephen A., to further blame women. That is not why we are here.
First of all, let me be very clear. I don't appreciate where you're going with that. I'm not blaming anybody but Ime Udoka. He deserves, the fact of the matter is, I've said he deserved to be fired if they were going to fire him. If you're not going to fire him, then don't fire him. My issue is all of this being publicized. The point that I'm trying to make is just like you're not mentioning. Excuse me. I listened to you. You're the one telling me to stop on my show. It ain't happening. Okay, that's number one. Number two, I've already said he deserves to be fired, or he deserves to be there and handle it internally and privately. If you're not going to handle it privately, if you're going to publicize it in that fashion, then obviously it provokes everybody wanting to know, okay, well, who are the parties involved? When you have Amina Smith in Boston and other women pointing out the fact that there were women who were wrongly implicated in all of this, it's a disservice to them.
Right.
I didn't come out with the report about a consensual relationship. I didn't come out with the report ahead of time leaking that they were going to suspend him for the year. They did that. And my point is, considering how pervasive this kind of stuff has existed in professional sports for many years, my whole point is that, make sure that you handle it in the same fashion it has always been handled. You could have fired him, and then we could have speculated till the cows come home, but he's gone. But to keep him there, keep him employed, but in the same breath, suspend him for a year, then also that year is indefinite. That is the issue that I have. Nobody's trying to protect Ime Udoka, and certainly nobody is trying to protect, is to excoriate the women involved or anything like that. I'm talking about how things of this matter are usually handled from an HR perspective, from an organizational perspective. That is not consistent with what we have seen throughout the years.
Let me just stop it there. I've seen enough. I've heard enough. Listen, I understand that it's like I'm beating a dead horse at this point because I've already made a video on it, but there's a reason why I'm making another video on this. Let me just say this first and foremost. Ladies, if you want to take any advice, if you want to learn how to be single for the rest of your life and never have men pursue you, pay attention to Malika here, please. This is the prime example of what I mean about an individual, whether that be man or woman, who is so blinded with emotion and is not thinking and using logic and applying it to the situation. This is what happens. Let me put this into perspective. Imagine coming onto somebody else's show, not just somebody else's show, and you're in the wrong, and you come on their show and tell them to stop on their show. Imagine being so delusional about the situation that the facts of what's been shared does not even matter to you. You talk about virtue signaling. Yo, I literally Googled different types of virtue signaling just to make sure that I'm using this correctly. Let me read. One type of virtue signaling is self-righteousness. Let's read it. It says, a feeling that one's beliefs, actions, or affiliations are morally superior to others. This is associated with a tendency to criticize others to signal that you are virtuous. In some cases, an individual who suffers from self-righteousness has limited ability to see their own faults and is therefore unable to improve. This may lead to a vicious cycle whereby the person becomes increasingly dependent on criticism of others to support their own self-esteem. Why is this important? This applies perfectly to Malika here. Perfectly. She is criticizing people and she's virtue signaling by getting on here and saying, this is not what we're going to do. This is not about blaming women. What are you talking about, Malika? You're not thinking logically. Think about what you're saying. This man made a great point, I might add, that a lot of women in the Boston Celtics organization has been falsely accused due to speculation that they are one of the women or the woman to have been involved in an affair with the head coach of the Boston Celtics. You know why those speculations are being made? Because the identity of the woman who was in a consensual relationship with this head coach, her identity has been protected. And we're asking why. She's not going to receive any disciplinary actions. It's been publicly stated. We're asking why. It's a consensual relationship. It's not like he forced himself. It's not like it's a criminal investigation of something he did to her. Now, let me address the allegations. There are some allegations out there that apparently the head coach of the Boston Celtics, the reason why he's the only one who's receiving disciplinary actions here is because it's being reported, or it's being alleged, that he stalked this woman that he was involved with. She cut things off. He stalked her, and allegedly he even tried to blackmail her. Now, that's not a fact. We don't know that that is true, but I just want to throw that out there because they're saying that that's really what's going on. Even if that's the case, let's say that she cut things off and she's ready to cut it off. He wasn't ready for it to be ended. So he blackmailed her or he stalked her. Absolutely unacceptable. But what does that have to do with her identity? She was involved with a consensual relationship. That was the initial action. Those actions, if he were to have stalked her, does not alleviate her, or alleviate the idea that her identity should not be shared. Disciplinary action should not be, come down upon her because of what he did after the fact. That doesn't make sense to me. That doesn't justify it. So that wouldn't even be enough anyways. This is legit virtue signaling 101 if I've ever seen it. Just throwing out the word. This is not about blaming women. First of all, he's not blaming women. He's actually trying to protect the innocent women who don't have anything to do with the situation. And that can be done by identifying the woman who was involved in a consensual relationship. He's not blaming women. He's talking about the woman who made a conscious decision to be involved in a consensual relationship. She's an adult, right? He's an adult, right? He's being blamed, right? Well, she should be blamed as well. How is that not a fair question? The level of entitlement that Malika is showing here, the sense of entitlement that she's portraying here is mind-blowing and astounding to me. The fact that she can come on, and I'm just saying it for what it is. She's doing it because she's a woman. And for some reason, to me, it seems like it's personal for her. I don't know if she's been in a similar situation or something, but she is not thinking logically. She's basically saying, hey, women should be able to do things that are irresponsible and be held unaccountable for it simply because they're women, and women have been oppressed. What do you mean this is not about blaming women? Can somebody hop in the comments? And I'm not saying it in a condescending way or in a rhetorical way or in a sarcastic way. No, I would really like for somebody to please hop in the comment section and explain to me what I'm missing about this situation, because this is mind-blowing to me.
Oh yeah, Diddy got a podcast.